So I was born in East London, Forest Gate, and at the age of 35, I started on the knowledge, and for a number of years, it worked very well for us. We got married, Lisa and I got married, and we decided that we'd like to bring our children up in a slightly more rural environment, something that I'd never had myself when I was younger. From a personal point of view, even though I held my licence for 16 years, I'd always had this feeling that I wasn't really doing the right thing, you know, driving this vehicle with a diesel vehicle. And I would have been happy, very happy, to have driven around in an electric vehicle. Wouldn't have bothered me at all. And I would much preferred to have done that, had they been available. I started to get upper respiratory tract infections, which can be interpreted in a number of ways, which obviously at the beginning weren't too severe, but as time went on, the severity got worse and the regularity increased. You hear stories about the effects of driving a black cab in London. You know, lots of people end up in the chest hospital in Bonner Street, but when you're in the situation that I was in, you say to yourself, well, I don't have many options, I've got to take what I've got, and if the consequences of it are that I end up with some chest infections or something like that, then I'll live with it, you know, that, which is what I did. Until it got to a stage where this situation just progressively got worse over the years, but it got to that stage where I was put on steroids because of the severity of it. Now, I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what was going on. Neither of us knew what was going on. But I continued with work, and then I actually ended up with a severe case of sinusitis. And I can't remember which year this was, but it was 06, and I had to have, I had to go to hospital to have an operation for it. Not that I'm an expert on these things, but I know that my maxillary sinuses were totally congested. I was in a really bad state. And what was happening was that my sinuses were blocked because of the inhalation of the exhaust fumes and the pollution. My sinuses blocked, and when I was picking up an infection, the infection would attack the back of my throat, and my sinuses would drip down the back of my throat, and then what was dripping down ended up in my gut. Okay, and we've since carried out some investigations as to the causes of ME, and one of it is the breakdown of the gut lining and its inability to absorb vitamin B12. I didn't know that at the time, obviously, but anyway, I had a sinus operation. It improved things for a while, and then what started to happen was I was falling asleep behind the wheel. So that put me in a situation, a very precarious, a real predicament, really, because if I couldn't drive my cab, I couldn't earn a living. If I couldn't earn a living, I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't keep my family. On that particular night, I blacked out 4 times on the way home, and I said to my wife, said to Lisa the next day, I said, I can't do this anymore. You know, this is going to kill me. If I get behind that wheel again, I'm a dead person, and I'll probably kill somebody else as well. To be honest, I was in shock for some time. Disbelief, total shock at the fact that I just couldn't do things, you know. I couldn't get up. I couldn't. I had problems just going to brushing my teeth. My muscle. I get muscle aches, and I don't want to live like this, you know. The exposure to this, it affected my breathing. It affected before I was formally diagnosed. Everything about my body just started to slow down. It didn't just happen overnight, the ME. It gradually happened, but the trigger, so far as I am concerned, is the exposure to toxic fumes, working in London. Pollution is a killer. I don't think there's any argument on that point. It kills people. It's just inhumane sometimes, and the level of exposure is inhumane. And I think, as far as the younger generation is concerned, that every effort should be put in to obtaining different sources of power other than diesel. I would say to Sadiq Khan, who is the son of a bus driver, I believe, that his father's job or occupation was a worthwhile and worthy one. And he operated at a time when there weren't alternatives to diesel or petrol. There are now. And it's essential that society looks at this situation and makes immediate changes, and not to just regard a certain percentage of deaths as being collateral damage, because that's inhumane. I'm sure it's undemocratic, and it's definitely not the type of country that I feel that I would want to live in if that's how they regard people's lives. That would be my message.